By called to order. This board was established pursuant to Section 519.13 of the Ohio Revised Code by the Anderson Township trustees to provide administrative relief to any person or entity adversely affected by the Anderson Township zoning resolution. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Rick Oversmith.
Present.
Brian Ella.
Here.
Fred Heiss.
Hayes, here.
Hayes, sorry.
Here.
Brian Johnson.
Here.
Brian Sanders is delayed.
Okay. Thank you for coming to this meeting. Please be aware this meeting is audio and videotaped and may be carried live on local community television. First, our procedures. A summary of the appeal is presented by the staff. Then the appellant can present its case. Board members may then ask questions of the appellant. All persons supporting the appeal will then be recognized. When those people are finished, anybody opposed to the appeal will be permitted to testify. Any persons wishing to testify, whether for or against an appeal, may do so only after being sworn in. And when testifying, please come to the microphone, state your name, address, and affiliation to the case. We would like to hear only new, non-repetitive testimony. Will anybody wishing to give testimony this evening please stand? So if you think you're going to talk, please go ahead. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Changes to tonight's agenda. I think we have a couple.
There's several, yes.
The July 24th minutes, which is the special meeting, we will not approve those tonight because I don't think we have a quorum of people who were present on that, so that approval of those minutes will be delayed. Then on item number 6, the deliberation of the one case in front of us, I'd like to move that up right behind the case since the other two matters don't involve anybody, and might as well just do that consecutively if that's okay with
Yes.
the panel. And then finally, an item that we expected to be on this agenda that is not is the Riverby case that was continued from last month, where the applicant requested a delay of the public hearing. That has now been rescheduled for September the 5th. So just for those who were curious about where that went on our agenda. Anything else on the
No,
agenda?
that's all.
All right. I do see that we have one of our scouts getting a merit badge tonight. We tend to have a few of those come through, and so welcome. And if you have any questions afterwards or during our break, please feel free to come up and ask any of us. Approval of minutes, the July 11th minutes. Any, you received changes?
I received
and
several comments.
Several
and
comments,
changes,
made
yes.
those changes? Any other changes or people have the opportunity?
I don't have any more changes.
Can I ask for approval of the minutes?
Move to approve the minutes as revised.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay. Aye. All right. Case 17-2013 BZA, 7655 Coldstream Drive. Would staff like to give us a summary of this case, please?
Sure. This property is zoned AA residence with is a single-family district, and they're before us tonight requesting a variance to allow a detached garage size 20 by 30 to be located in the front yard, where it is required to be located in the rear yard per section 171.7. We can see this property here on our location map. It is somewhat unique in that its panhandle does not contain the drive for this property. This area is considered the front yard of the property as it shares a private drive with more than 3 lots. So the location of the proposed garage is in this area. The tract is approximately 1.2 acres and has about 20 feet of frontage on Coldstream through its panhandle. There's a steep ravine in the middle of the property, and its existing use is a single-family home. As you can see here, all of the surrounding zoning is AA residence, and all of the uses are single-family residences. The existing home was constructed in 1980, and the addition was added in 1997. Case 14, 2001 BZA approved a detached garage size 22 by 20 located in this same area that tonight's proposal is in. This structure was never constructed. The property has since changed in ownership, and the new owner would like a larger structure than what was previously approved during that case. The front yard setback is determined using that shared driveway in accordance with Section 171.2 of the zoning resolution. Here we can see an aerial photo, and you can also see this ravine in the middle of the property, which makes this area unsuitable for development of this type. Here's a proposed site plan showing the location of the structure, as well as a proposed elevation drawing showing the structure. And finally, property photos of surrounding conditions. This photo, you can see pretty clearly the location of the proposed structure at the end of the existing driveway, and you can see the steep ravine in this photo as well. So staff is of the opinion that the variance is not substantial. The proposed location of the accessory structure will be within the front yard area when viewing the property from the private drive, but it will not be visible from Coldstream Drive. The essential character of the neighborhood will not be substantially altered, and adjoining properties will not suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance requested. There's existing vegetation in this area that's mature and should serve as a buffer between properties, and other homes in the area have accessory structures in atypical locations. The variance would not adversely affect the delivery of governmental services. And finally, the property owner's predicament cannot be feasibly obviated through some method other than a variance. The new structure is proposed to be located at the end of the existing drive, and other locations within the property are not suitable for this type of development.
Questions for Allison?
Did you say, Allison, that there's other, was your word atypical locations for?
Yes, and sadly, it's just outside of this aerial photo. This property here has 2 front yards, and technically their accessory structure of a pool and pool house are within this, what's to be considered the front yard along
Okay.
Coldstream.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And Allison, the driveway that is actually used as a driveway, then, it must be an easement, and they're shared with the
Correct, it's a
other
shared
property
drive.
owners?
When you mentioned the ravine in the photos, if you could leave it on this, well, if you could go
Awesome.
back, can you take your cursor and just go relative to where the house is? Where is the ravine at?
In this location.
Back over there, okay, got it.
So pretty much cutting through what would be considered the rear yard of this
Uh-huh.
property.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Allison, one further question. If the house was positioned slightly differently, we would not have an issue here at all. If the house was turned, say, 90 degrees counterclockwise, and positioned even in the same place, we probably would not have an issue here from a zoning resolution standpoint, because
Well, this area would still be considered a front yard regardless of if the house faced this direction or whether the side of the house faced this direction.
And that's because you're measuring it, calculating it from,
From this shared drive. Anything off of this shared drive is technically the front yard area.
Oh,
It gets a
Okay.
little bit funny with 171.2.
yeah, okay. Thank you.
but if the driveway had come through the panhandle, this would be considered the rear yard.
This would be considered the rear yard if the driveway were in the panhandle, yes.
And if this was considered the rear yard, we don't have a side yard we would not have a side yard problem?
Correct.
Okay. Other questions of staff?
No.
Would the applicant or the applicant's representative like to come forward and tell us a little bit about the project? Come on up, state your name. We do have a couple, we'll probably have a couple questions for you.
Good evening. My name is Randy Schur, and I'm the proud homeowner of 7655 Coldstream Drive, Anderson Township. Just became a resident recently, and I'm excited about being here.
Anything else you want to tell us about this project? I guess the prior approval was for a 20, 22-foot wide, I guess was two-bay garage, and you're going for 30, is that right?
Yeah, just a little bit wider for some storage. My wife and I are this is a downsized house for us, and we still got a lot of stuff.
Did you know about when you bought it, did you know that there had been a garage approved there before?
At the
Is that
exact
a-
time of purchase, no.
Huh, okay. So that was
No.
kind of a surprise, then.
We kind of rolled the dice, and then through the research, we said, wow, this could make it a little bit more applicable for you guys to approve.
The planned use for the existing attached garage is,
I'm sorry, the attached garage?
yeah, the existing, you've got an existing
Yeah,
garage
there's an
there.
existing two-car attached garage,
Yeah.
side entry.
What do you plan to do with it?
Well, that'll continue to be used as a garage. I have a number of cars, got a collector car and that sort of thing, so.
Did you look at it all, placing it in what you heard staff describe as the rear yard? Could you tell us a little bit about what the conditions are like
Yeah.
behind the house, I guess?
Yeah, most definitely. So if you take a look at the orientation of the house as it sits on the existing lot, and the rear view of the home, really the elevation drops, starts really, as Allison described, really kind of, if you dissect the home in half, if you would, as I look at the view from here, the left-hand side is kind of pretty dramatically dropping off, and really your only flat area is right coming off the main drive. So, I'd love to have it hidden, but it's just not even remotely possible to do it on this lot.
What are the plans for the second floor of the garage? It appears that there is a second floor in it. But it'd have to be small since the total height is only 15 feet.
Yeah, it's only 15 feet. It's just really more of I don't know if I'd call it a dummy window or kind of a fake window. We're really not looking at using that for anything substantial.
So it'll be an open loft.
Exactly, yep.
The drawing that was submitted several years ago, or 10 years ago or so, in connection with the prior approval, showed that the building would end up about 5 feet from the side property line. Is that still going to be the case?
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. We have done, I have done the surveying, and we can definitely stay, outside of that boundary, if you would, the 5-foot requirement.
Okay, and do you have, obviously, the drawing that was submitted in 2001, rather, was for the smaller location. Is there a new drawing that shows the larger location?
Yeah, it should have been in a packet showing it on the position on the, kind of the topo drawing, or the plat drawing, if you would.
I mean, there was like a handwritten, not to scale and not done by the surveyor to show the distance from the sidelines.
Right. Yeah, as tight as it is, I mean, we're just basically adding a few feet each way and then just staying within 5 feet off the property line. So it just kind of fits right in there.
Any other questions for the applicant?
None of the applicant.
And you intend to abide by the original condition about the trees along the side? I guess it was
Yeah,
evergreens?
yeah, I'm a tree lover, that's why I'm back there.
It's remote.
That's why I bought the property, and,
Can I get anything other than
yeah.
I'm probably the only guy could hit an errant golf ball there. My slice. Anything else?
The drawing is a nice-looking building. Is that what you're planning to do, brick building?
Well, I'll be
Seeing as no, okay.
Cedar siding.
Yeah, we'll be.
Cedar siding, it's written on there, okay.
Exactly,
Thanks,
yeah.
Mr. Hayes.
We'll match the aesthetics and the look of the existing property, I'm extremely particular on...
The house is cedar siding.
Yes, that's correct.
That's right. Okay,
All right,
thank you.
thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak in support of this application? Give us your name and address, be great.
My name is Bill Imbus. I live at 1010 Spindletop, and I've been contracted to build the garage for Randy. And I think the issue here with the, what is really considered the front yard, I mean, I was kind of surprised when I noticed that they considered the front yard to be the shared driveway. I mean, when you pull in, I don't know if you gentlemen had a chance to go out and visit the property, but when you pull in, you would think, and anybody else would think as you pull in, that we're building this building on the left rear corner of the property and not the front of the property. So I think the building will fit, will fit in very, very nice on the lot, and it'll blend in, real well.
And are there plans drawn yet that show the exact location and the setbacks? And we've got the kind of handwritten ones. Have you done?
Not exact. We wanted to take this step first before we got the exact.
And then
drawing
you
of the
anticipate being able, you'll do drawings that have the cedar siding and,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Any questions of Mr. Imbus?
No.
Thank you. Anybody else care to speak in favor or against this application?
I have a question of staff in that case of no further testimony. The sign that publicized the meeting was kind of hidden back there, but at least the next door property owner could see the sign and knows of the issue. Have we heard anything at
We
all
have
from?
from a few neighbors, not within that same private drive, but who did get our 200-foot mailing notice, who came in to look at the plans and thought it looked like a nice structure, and they were familiar with the previous variant, so they were happy to see that it would be in the same location.
Okay. But it was not the one that is next door to the...
No, it was not the directly
to the
adjacent
garage.
neighbor.
We haven't heard from those.
We've heard from her as well.
Oh, we have?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And they're comfortable
Can we
with
ask
the
the
plan?
applicant to come back up and ask about whether they've had any discussion with the neighbor? Would you be more comfortable with that, Fred?
No, I was actually more interested in direct testimony from the property owners. And so, but we have heard from that
Yes,
property owner, and they're comfortable?
Yep.
Okay, very good.
Thank you. Anything else? Close the public hearing then on case 17-2013 BZA, and we can talk about this one, I think, as with the change in the agenda. We'll talk about it right now. On thoughts on this? Anybody have concerns on this application?
Mr. Chairman, I'm in favor of granting this variance. This looks fine. It looks like a proper beneficial improvement to the property, and especially with the agreement of the adjacent property owners. I think we just need to be careful to stipulate the further drawings that you were talking about, the more detailed drawings that are approved by staff with proper setbacks, and better drawings about the vegetation that is going to be used for the separation with the next property owner.
I think that the separation is the existing evergreens from the original case.
That's the item 2 in the original case.
Right.
Which I didn't pay attention to when I was out there, so I couldn't tell you what their condition was.
I didn't see extensive,
I don't think there's,
those existing evergreens may have met their demise
over the last
many
12
years.
years.
Yeah. So I would say that we probably ought to add a stipulation in there of an evergreen vegetation plan to be augmented. If it's not, if some of them are missing.
Yeah, and Brian,
Yeah, I agree with those comments and the staff's findings, so it's not going to materially change the neighborhood, and you can't see it from Coldstream, so not a problem.
I agree with the comments of the board, and I think it's going to be a nice structure there. I think it'll be very complimentary. It's a lovely area, and my only thought when I drove up the driveway to look at it was it did seem, I was curious about the impact on the neighbor's house over there, and I did not notice, but now I see from the discussion tonight that there was discussion of the tree buffer. I think maybe that's a nice idea, and I would agree with Mr. Imbus's observation that as you pull up in there, from that perspective, it kind of does look like a rear yard setting anyway, even though it's kind of hard to regulate. You have to pick something as your front yard demarcation, so that's why we're here tonight. And lastly, there's a big ravine there, so there certainly is some topo hardship that would justify the variance, I think, for sure.
yeah, I agree with everything that's been said. I would like to, I guess the original one said it's no closer than 5 feet to the west or south property lines, and hopefully we maintain that requirement. And I would like to see a requirement that the applicant submit to staff a more detailed site plan that shows exact location from the property lines and exact layout of the space, since in this case they were kind of estimating what they had. In terms of the prior condition about maintaining evergreens in place, I guess my one concern, Fred, I think it was a great idea to, require that some sort of a landscaping be put in place. What kind of standards can we give staff to review that? We certainly heard the applicant say that he's very much concerned
With the trees.
about
Yep.
preserving what's there. If we're requiring placement of a couple of additional ones,
I would propose that the only standard would be acceptable to the adjacent property owner.
that's a hard, we've done that before, that's a difficult one I think that puts staff in a really hard position.
I think maybe what we should do is suggest some guidelines, like, one, the plan should show what's there. Two, then, if there's gaps, we should specify something like 8-foot blue spruce or some type of evergreen tree, and keeping in mind that those trees grow, and we don't want to have trees planted that are going to be wasted. And I think if we can give some general guidelines to that regard, I would be comfortable leaving it more to staff's discretion of the adequacy of the buffer rather than trying to just come up with some kind of arbitrary, we need 5 pine trees or something like that. And the stipulation that they be kept in good condition.
Staff comfortable with that?
I'm comfortable with that.
And so the
Good.
standard would be something like, in the event the existing evergreens are not adequate to provide buffering from the adjacent property, that the plan include
Replacement.
installation of evergreens to provide that buffer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which is apparently what's gone on between the previous case and now.
Mhm.
I've noticed trees in that area. There's trees to the, there's trees to the furthest part away from the house, but up closer to the front of the house and along the drive, there is not much of a buffer there at all anymore. Could have been evergreens in the past, but they're not there now.
Entertain a motion. That's what I like about being the chair this year, because I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
I can just ask the question, I don't have to answer it. Entertain a motion from somebody on this.
You want to give it a shot?
Yeah, I'll try it. In case number 17-2013 BZA 7655 Coldstream Drive, that the board grant the requested variance to allow a detached garage size 20 feet by 30 feet to be located in the front yard where it's otherwise required to be located in the rear yard, and adding to that the following findings, that the property in question will be able to, with this variance, will be able to yield a reasonable return, and that there can be a beneficial use of the property, and that the variance will enhance that ability by providing a garage structure in keeping with the demands we see with up-to-date and modern housing in Anderson Township. Furthermore, that the variance is not substantial and that there will be minimum setbacks in keeping with accessory structures as well as buffering requirement. That the essential character of the neighborhood would not be substantially altered, and adjoining properties would not suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance, and in that we've observed that the location of the garage is, although technically in the front yard, has the appearance of being, in fact, in the rear yard as you approach from the shared driveway, and also that we've heard that the staff has had input from adjoining properties based on notice, and that there has been no objection raised. That also that there is a steep ravine in what is the technical rear yard of the property, which makes it not only very difficult to build this structure, but also makes it inaccessible for motorized vehicles, and that the variance would not adversely affect delivery of government services. The purchaser, the owner purchased a property with knowledge of the zoning restrictions, but in fact did not have knowledge that a very similar type structure in a similar location had been previously approved by this board. The owner's predicament cannot be feasibly obviated through some other method due to the natural topography challenges. Spirit and intent behind the zoning requirements would be observed and justice done by granting this variance. And furthermore, the approval should be conditioned upon providing a surveyed site plan demonstrating that the building will not be placed closer than 5 feet to any property line, and that site plan will be subject to the approval of staff. And also included in that site plan will be demarcation of existing pine trees, and also demarcation of additional pine trees necessary to create a substantial buffer between the new structure and the adjoining property, in particular the property to the, somebody help me with the directions here, is that to the west? What's the,
Maybe it's the property that shares the common drive, how's that?
yeah, thank you, the property
The east.
sharing the common driveway, and that the structure will otherwise be built in conformance with the plans and elevations provided to the board, noting that the siding of the structure will be cedar siding to match the existing house and not the brick as shown. and that the construction is required to start within 1 year of the journalized approval and completed within 2. Is there any other conditions anybody would like to add?
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion, a second, any further discussion?
We may want to date the plans, but other than that, it was a beautiful motion.
Thank you.
Just one thing for those in the audience, this is what we consider a straw vote, and then that gives the staff time to type it up, and we'll act formally on it yet this evening.
July 17th.
The plans are dated
July 17th.
July 17th.
July 17th, okay.
Betty, we have a motion and a second. Could you call the roll, please?
Brian Miller,
Aye.
Brett Hayes,
Aye.
Brian Johnson,
Aye.
Rick Oberschmidt.
Aye. Okay. Next up is extension of time for case 17-2010 BZA. I believe that staff can give us some background, but you should have in front of us, I guess, a amended decision from 2010, where this was approved, but all the work has not been completed within the 2 years. So, Allison, you want to give
Yeah, I
us
can
a
give you
little
some
background
background
on
on this. So it is located on Salem, at the corner of Salem and Eversole. It's zoned to be residence. And the request that's in front of us is to extend the 2-year time period. The initial resolution for this had our typical stipulation, start within 1 year and shall be completed within 2 years from the date of this decision. So here's an aerial photo of the site from 2011, and in this you can see one portion of the proposed and granted addition has been completed, and then in this area you can see some earth movement going on. So this was the proposed site plan that was approved in 2010. This addition has been completed. This section was another addition to be a master bedroom on the first floor with a garage structure above it. At this point, the garage structure is not constructed. It is just a concrete parking pad in that area. And in speaking with the applicant, initially Patrick Bowen, it seems like it's just financially not feasible to do it all at once at this time. So the application comes back before us with the request that that time be extended, and we drafted a resolution stating that it shall be completed within 2 years of the date of that resolution.
Right. I don't think I'd
Questions? I
have...
don't know if anybody was here on that panel in 2010. I was. And so I've kind of observed this one. My concern is that this has been
Ongoing.
an ongoing construction project. And
I do have photos
Oh, okay.
at this time. This would be where the garage would be, had the construction been completed. In this photo, you can see the completion of that front addition. This area right now is just a concrete parking pad. So the site is not visibly under construction at this time. I take it that has been a concern in the past.
I guess my concern here is, I mean, we approve something, so I don't have a problem with giving them more time. What I would not like to see is kind of what happened on the last phase, which is they start construction and they take 2 years to do a project that really shouldn't take 2 years, where they start, stop, start, stop. So I don't mind saying completion within 2 years from the date of this amended decision, but I'd really like that, I'd almost like to add
1 year after start of construction.
1 year after start of construction. I'm not trying to be unreasonable, but I think it's,
Well, it can be disruptive for adjoining and people nearby if everybody can tolerate some degree of construction, but if it's taking much longer than it should, then can be disruptive.
and so I'd rather that second one construction be completed within
1 year.
within 1 year from commencement of construction, but in no event later than 2 years from the date of this amended decision. So I guess I violate my own rules and make a motion to that effect, but
It sounded like a discussion to me. I'm still trying to figure out what is this, this is an amended.
That would be a draft of a possible amended resolution for it.
so the only thing that would change from what was approved in 2010 is just to give them the additional time.
How, Allison, how would you go about, I totally agree with what you're saying, but I guess I'm trying to think, how would you enforce something like that?
In a case like this, Barb Hefner, our zoning inspector, has her problem properties that she routinely inspects, and this could be just one of those that we've got to check on frequently.
So Barb would kind of keep an eye on it, and said, okay, looks like construction's beginning,
Right.
1 year,
Mhm.
okay.
It sounds like it's already on our list.
It is. That's
Yeah.
how it's before us today.
Yep, okay.
So
But
I'm
from
not the
a,
only one to notice it took a little time to get that finished. Okay, all right, just me.
from an administrative standpoint, do we have to have this resolution be all-inclusive like this? Or can we make a resolution that is just an amendment of the timing?
That's how we've always done it on prior ones. Other than that, I'm not sure.
I think you could probably just make a motion that says that the prior approval, that condition 2 be amended to read as follows.
That's what I was thinking, more than, because this reads like being fully advised and from the evidence adduced at the hearing of the case.
Yeah.
We aren't here and we didn't hear it.
I think we can do it in that
Yeah.
manner.
Even if we've got underneath the case number, the extension of time, and then when you guys sign it, the date will be different there on that resolution.
The date of the second resolution, of the amending resolution, should be August 1st. It should be today as we act on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you guys are saying instead of having this full resolution, we'd maybe have an amending resolution but just says this condition 2 is revised as follows?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be okay.
And leave the original resolution as is.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
In that case, let me try this one. Mr. Chairman, I move that this board approve a modification, an amendment to case number 17-2010 BZA to change condition number 2 to read that construction shall be completed within 2 years of this approved action, and also within 1 year of commencement of the actual construction.
A motion?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Betty, would you please call the roll?
Brian Miller,
Aye.
Fred Hayes,
Aye.
Brian Johnson,
Aye.
Rick Oversmith.
Aye. Okay, can we take maybe just a brief recess and let you type up those two?
Sure, and then we can do all of them.
Yeah, because then we need to talk about the other one. So brief recess, and then we'll come and take action on those in front of us.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
Anticipate every fund lot, so like you heard the front yard is looked at the sheriff
taken action. Okay, we got it up on the screen, so
So what we did with this one is went ahead and added in to the text and amended on August 1st.
and so this is the Salem Road.
And then that's the condition that's updated.
All right, so scroll back to the top again for us here.
This is all the original resolution language that I think we'd like to keep just for the sake of,
Will the yellow highlighting stay with it?
no. That's just a,
So we've
Show
got
you
to
all
be
the way.
clear about where it's amended.
Let's do this when we do the final one. Can you,
You want
can we just underline?
to, is your mic on?
Thank you. Thank you. Can we just underline the
This
as
condition?
amended in the very top and the second condition?
sure, that'd be fine.
So that it's clear for posterity what. Thank you. Does that make you a little more
Super.
comfortable?
Super.
Okay.
All right. So if we can just scroll down to number 2, I think, make sure we got that language that we discussed.
Should
You know, that's,
And maybe?
I think the or should be and,
and,
yes.
yeah, I agree. All right. Is it this decision or this amended decision? You think, let's put amended in just so there's no
Yeah.
ambiguity about that. Anything else?
Looks good.
It's good.
Entertain a motion?
I need the paperwork. Mr. Chairman, I move that this board formally approve and journalize the case 17-2010 BZA.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Betty, could you call the roll, please?
Brian Ellis,
Aye.
Fred Hayes,
Aye.
Brian Thompson,
Aye.
Rick Smith.
Aye. All right, case 17-2013 BZA.
Sorry,
Whoops.
I got issues.
2013?
We'll get back to that.
2013, I'm sorry.
Where are we at? Oh, I'm sorry.
17. All right. So we'll see if this language matches up to what we said before. Allison always makes us sound a lot better than we did.
Ignore me, this text seems smaller. 'Cause it is.
You're running way ahead of us.
I'm just finding my own typos.
I think I'd be a little more comfortable in number 3, rather than saying, I know, I maybe even said this, that the adjacent property owners are comfortable, it's just saying that there was no negative evidence received as to the proposed location, something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd be more comfortable with that.
Can we see the top and the bottom of that? if everybody is ready to move.
Yes.
Yes.
Is there something, maybe can you scroll down just a tad? Sorry, yeah, I guess we...
Yeah, I think didn't we want to incorporate the 5 feet from adjacent, from the property lines?
That's in one.
Well,
I think we required, and maybe I'm not reading here carefully enough, but we required actually a new plot plan
Which is number 2.
showing the 5 feet.
So in there showing that, thank you.
And I think also I'd like to add in there that the one, that the buffering needs to be the evergreen trees need to be maintained in good, healthy condition. But secondly, that the buffering plan submitted needs to be satisfactory to staff as well. Is that in there, or did I miss that?
no,
not.
but with that condition, we would have to approve it to issue a zoning certificate for it.
That's with the site plan.
So you're saying it's basically there? Okay.
So we want to add,
Did you put in there that they need to be maintained in healthy condition?
yeah, where would we like that?
So if it did show, just out of curiosity, so if it did show they had a gap in the evergreen trees, what do you think would be adequate, like an 8-foot?
Our
Evergreen tree.
landscape requirements for parking lots and proposed new construction is 6 feet for evergreens. So we'd probably revert to that
With some
same.
kind of spacing requirement?
But the maintenance would probably be an additional condition though, right?
Yes.
Yes, here we go.
Eastern,
Maybe it's use the same language above, buffering the neighboring property or something like that.
Yeah.
Good.
Everybody okay with that? Let's look at the bottom and see if we got the... Great, and you fixed the top?
no, not yet, I gotta add there.
Okay.
I'm drawing
The
there.
wording on the construction timing that's our standard phrase.
Yes.
But should we shift that to the new phrase that we just kind of invented is begin within 1 year and end within 1 year after the start of construction?
I'm okay on this case, because I think we're not trying...
They're going to be fairly quick about it,
Yeah, I'm
probably.
not too worried about that one. I think this is a special case that we had before. All right.
Ready? Mr. Chairman, in case 17-2013 BZA, I move that the board approve and journalize the decision granting the case as submitted.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? If not, Betty, could you call the roll, please?
Brian Miller,
Aye.
Fred Hayes,
Aye.
Brian Johnson,
Aye.
Rick Oversmith.
Aye. All right, next and last on the agenda is decision and journalization of case 13-2013 BZA Ticonderoga Court.
Mr. Chairman, I did receive a draft of that decision, and I have quite a few remarks on that. I think it would be inefficient to try and work through this at this time, and also I think it would be helpful if we had at least more of the regular board here for their input on that, so I'd move we table that to next month.
We have a-
Second.
Second, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? I think that's a good idea. Plus, I do think that with the comments I've made and comments that you've made, that Gary Powell, our council, ought to look at that resolution as well.
Yes.
Motion and a second to table the final decision and journalization in case 2013 BZA. Do we need to take a vote on that, I guess?
Brian Miller,
Aye.
Fred Hayes,
Aye.
Brian Johnson,
Aye.
Rick Emerson.
Aye. Anything further? For the good of the order? September the 5th is our next meeting? Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.